Imagine this for a second. You're scrolling late at night. The room is quiet, and you stumble upon footage that at first seems ordinary, just another recording. Someone walking through a hallway, a family eating dinner, a security camera in a store. But then, without warning, something shifts. A shadow lingers a little too long in a corner where there should be none. A figure moves in the background when everyone in the room is accounted for. These aren't stage clips. These aren't special effects. These are recordings that people never intended to become viral. Videos captured by accident, by pure coincidence. And that's what makes them so disturbing. Over the last few months, entire threads have been dedicated to breaking down these moments, trying to explain the unexplainable. People online claim it's just tricks of the light, bad camera quality, or even glitches in the footage. But if you pay attention closely, if you really study the details, you'll notice that some of these occurrences simply cannot be dismissed that easily. I've personally spoken to two families whose home security cameras caught movements at times when no one was home. They told me about doors unlocking themselves, whispers recorded in the middle of the night, and figures standing at the end of their hallways that vanish in seconds. These aren't people looking for attention. They're people who are terrified enough to pack their belongings and leave their own homes. And yet, for some reason, the more cases like these are shared, the more they seem to multiply. It's almost as if recording them attracts more of it, as if the act of watching, of focusing on these moments, somehow makes the phenomenon stronger. No one can fully explain why, but the patterns are there, repeating in ways that are too consistent to be ignored. Subscribe if you don't want this to happen to you. There's something unsettling about how ordinary these moments begin. A baby monitor quietly recording a child's room, a dash cam capturing the empty road ahead, even a phone propped up to film a casual vlog. Nothing about these situations screams danger at first, but then the atmosphere shifts, and that's exactly when people start to notice details they weren't supposed to see. One of the most chilling examples came from a man in Texas who installed cameras in his home after hearing footsteps on the second floor while he was downstairs. He assumed it was an intruder, but what he caught on video didn't walk like a person. The figure moved in sharp, unnatural jerks, as if its limbs weren't attached the way ours are. When he showed the footage to the police, they couldn't categorize it as trespassing because there was no evidence that anyone had ever entered or left the house. The footage is still online, and to this day, no one has given a logical explanation. Then there are cases recorded in places where the paranormal shouldn't even be possible. Brightly lit public areas filled with people. A woman shopping at a supermarket suddenly drops her basket and runs because she swears someone whispered her name directly in her ear. The security footage confirms she reacted to something, but the audio doesn't register another voice, only hers. Employees later admitted similar things had happened in that store, but none of them ever want to go public with their experiences until this clip surfaced. What's strange is how often these events align with people's emotions. It's almost like the recordings target moments when people are most distracted, stressed, or vulnerable. That's why so many experts in digital forensics can't easily dismiss these clips as edited or fake. Because if they were, they wouldn't show such consistent patterns across completely unrelated locations and individuals. And the more you dig, the darker it gets. Entire neighborhoods have reported unexplained shadows moving across their streets at night. People walking dogs capture figures in the background of their phone videos that vanish the moment they look up. Some researchers suggest these are fragments of something crossing into our reality. But the terrifying part is this. Once you see them, once you give them your attention, it becomes almost impossible to ignore the possibility that you've invited them closer. Think about this. Most of the people who capture these clips aren't paranormal investigators. They're regular people. Students recording a project, parents filming their kids, delivery drivers with dash cams. They're not looking for anything unusual, which is why the footage feels so raw, so authentic. You can almost sense the panic in their voices when they realize they're not alone. Take the case of a young couple who had just moved into a small apartment. They set up a camera to monitor their dog while they were at work. For weeks, nothing happened. Then one afternoon, the footage showed the dog barking at the corner of the room, at first harmless enough, but as the seconds passed, the animal's behavior changed. It lowered itself to the ground, whimpering, tail between its legs. The couple watched in disbelief as the dog's collar unclasped and slid across the floor by itself. No strings, no one in the room. They moved out less than a week later. It's stories like these that make you realize how fragile the line is between what we consider normal and what exists just beyond our perception. Cameras don't lie. They capture what our eyes miss, and that's what makes these moments so powerful. Every time one of these clips surfaces, forums light up with debates. Skeptics shouting coincidence, others insisting they've experienced the same. But if it were all coincidence, why does it keep happening? Why does each case share eerie similarities that stretch across countries, cultures, and languages? And here's something even more disturbing. Several people who uploaded their footage reported that strange events in their homes escalated afterward. It's almost as if documenting the phenomenon gives it more strength, like it feeds off the attention. One man swore that after his video went viral, knocks on his bedroom door started happening every night at exactly 3:17 a.m. Another woman claimed she woke up to find her phone recording on its own, capturing whispers that didn't belong to her voice. There's no denying that technology has pulled back the curtain on things we weren't supposed to see. Before, strange sounds or flickering shadows could be dismissed as imagination. But now, with thousands of cameras rolling every second, the evidence is piling up, and the more you watch, the harder it is to convince yourself that all of this is just tricks of the mind. What unsettles me the most is how these recordings don't just happen in haunted houses or abandoned places we're conditioned to associate with fear. They happen in kitchens, schools, offices, even hospitals filled with people. Everyday spaces where nothing should feel threatening suddenly become stages for something far beyond our control. And the worst part is, no one notices until it's too late. One security guard in California shared a clip from a hospital lobby late at night. The chairs were empty, the lights buzzing quietly overhead. Then, one of the wheelchairs rolled across the floor, slowly at first, and then all at once as if shoved by invisible hands. The guard thought it was air conditioning, until he replayed the footage and noticed that at the exact moment the wheelchair moved, the exit sign flickered, and a dark shape appeared in the reflection of the glass doors. He quit his job 2 days later. Another video came from a high school in Ohio. Late at night, when the halls were completely empty, the cameras picked up lockers slamming open and closed one by one, almost in rhythm. You can hear the metallic echo, and yet there's no one there. When the janitor reviewed the footage, he recognized something horrifying. The lockers that opened were the same ones belonging to students who had died in a car accident the year before. None of this ever made it into the local news, but the clip leaked online and has been circulating in forums ever since. What makes these stories impossible to ignore is how they affect the people who record them. It's not just fear, it's obsession. They replay the footage over and over, convinced they're missing something. And when they finally decide to share it, they often admit that things only get worse afterward. Lights start flickering at random. Objects go missing and then reappear in strange places. Some even say they hear faint voices calling their names while they sleep. Skeptics argue it's all coincidence, but coincidence doesn't leave behind fingerprints. Coincidence doesn't explain why unrelated families across the world describe the exact same phenomena. The cold drafts, the electrical malfunctions, the feeling of being watched. There are patterns here, and the more we see them, the more undeniable they become. The real question isn't whether these things are real. The question is, why are they showing themselves now, and why are so many cameras catching them at once? Could it be that we were never meant to see the side of reality? Or is it possible that by recording and watching, we're the ones opening the door